Hello everyone. On this video I would like to introduce you the way how we can start Symfony 5.0 on a Docker environment, and I have described this on my blog birkhoff.com. You can find the article about this. This article consists from two parts where you can read and go to the repository on GitLab just to download or view files. So let's begin. I have prepared my environment where we will see that we will need couple things. First of all, we need to have installed Docker, and I'll show you that I have already installed it, and this is what is my version is 19.03. And of course, for running Docker we will need to have Docker Compose. I have it already installed, and I have it version current is 1.25.4. So let's go to my project and let's see the structure and the needed files to start Symfony in Docker. The main file which must be is Dockerfile. You see my structure of folders, and I have put it in a Docker folder. So let's see how it looks, my Docker file. I'm basing on Ubuntu on Ubuntu 18.04. It's LTS version, and like for today, it's most popular version of Docker files. I'm putting my time zone to the configuration of the virtual server. At first, the second step is installing needed stuff. It's like PHP and web server like Nginx. Nginx is used because it is very light comparing to Apache, and it's a completely useful thing. So I'm adding here new repository where PHP 7.4 is located, so my Ubuntu in Docker can download it and install needed things like PHP DOM, curl, or FPM, or even zip, SQLite, or for example MySQL. I will need some things like Vim, Nano, MC, Git, curl, ACL, because it's comfortable after to view files or edit files or identify some problems. Also, you may need Composer htop to see how heavy or not heavy loaded is your server, and what processes are using the memory or CPU or any other resources of the server, virtual server of course. And I'm removing all unneeded build packages to make the Docker most lightful than I can. So I'm setting PHP like default version of PHP on my server, and after that I need to run some tricks to install curl, because on newer version of PHP it's not so easy. Also, the main thing that you need to have is installing Forego. Forego is application that allows our server to not to shut down just after start. It's exposing some processes as diamonds, and it's keeping running them. So your Docker will be running and listening for requests and sending some responses. It's like important things. The next things are configuring PHP and configuring PHP FPM. Also, the next step is copying configuration of web server Nginx and virtual host to my Docker, and copying entry point like start docker sh. It's a bash script that is needed to like clear cache or migrate database etc. The next step, I'm copying all files, all my project from local to Docker image. Why? Because we need to give user complete image in current version and current environment. The next, I'm changing permissions to my files because while we are building this Docker image, we have running it from root user, and after we will start Docker running, our web server will not have permissions to access or run these files. There's a like next points is expose port and setting entry point to the file, which I mentioned before. Let's build this, building this Docker, and while it will be building, I'll explain another files like nginx.conf, nginx server, or for example Docker compose. I have prepared bash script. It's build Docker named, and here I have command to build my Docker. It's called image will be called Birkhoff block, and Dockerfile is taken from Dockerfile. So let's run it. I am in my correct path and I'm running sudo sh build docker sh. It's running me for asking me for my password. It's normal because we are running, as I mentioned, as root user. You have to add your Docker to sudo as user because it just need that right. So while it is building, you may see that it's downloading everything, installing and else. I'll explain you some files like as I said, Nginx. Nginx, it's let's see where it is located. Here it is copying, and it is virtual host configuration. We have here some configs like listening port, root directory, and it is public for Symfony versions like 4 and newer. Index file, server name, I call it Birkhoff blog, and some configuration for fastGUI. Okay, the next file is Nginx server, and here you can configure your server just as you need it. You can read any manuals on the internet about Nginx and see how to configure it due to your requirements. You can see how my Nginx server file looks like. The next file is needed to start running the Docker, and this is Docker compose file. This file is like configuration how Docker compose should prepare your image for running and start it. Yeah, so I have here defined services. Main one service is called Birkhoff blog. It will be built from image Birkhoff blog, and container name will also be Birkhoff blog. I set it to restart always, and extra hosts is Docker host. This extra host is needed to for connection between Docker and another Docker's images or even local host. For example, if you have your database MySQL on localhost and you need to connect from Docker to MySQL, you should use not localhost as definition of the host in Symfony, just Docker host. I'm exposing my ports to it's like external port will be 8888 and internal port is 18. So it's like on my computer I can go to localhost 8888 and I will see my project running. Yeah. Also, I need 2 volumes. They will be mounted to my Docker image while running, and one of it is logs from server, and another is logs from Symfony. And I call that folders like logs and app logs. This is very useful to for some error diagnostics and like checking logs, something like you need to see your logs. It is very useful because you don't need to enter Docker image log therein and check your logs. You have already that logs on your folder on your local computer, so you can check logs every time without need to be logged into the Docker. Also, this reduces size of Docker, because if you will leave these files in Docker, it will grow up. It will grow up in size, and stopping and restarting big container takes time. So if you want to have like continuous delivery to your users, you want to have maximum availability on the net, you should not have big Docker images. It is better to have lower size Docker image. So if you need to provide some changes, you just restart the Docker and it's run immediately. If you have big Docker, sorry, you should wait while it stops and starts again. The next file is env file. It's environment variables that are not. I don't know if the way where PHP will goes, but for now, let's say we are using env files. and file is required for Symfony and how it looks like it I showing you here. It's just standard Symfony variables. Let's see if my Docker image is already built. Yeah, so if you have configured everything correctly, you should see like some similar log to mine, and you should see running successfully built and successfully tagged your image as latest. After that, I have prepared bash script run docker. It consists from docker compose command, and let's try to run it. Sudo sh run docker. Recreating my image, and you see that it is already takes time for empty image. So okay, how we can check if our Docker is running? Yeah, first step, you can run docker ps command, and you should see this error. It's okay because I have run docker ps command without sudo, so I should add sudo. And if I add sudo, we'll see the container name, container ID, and how long it is running, created, and status. Also, you see ports. It's 8888 to 80 TCP. So now we can check our project. Let's go to browser and type local host 8888, enter. Voila! Now we have our Symfony application, Symfony 5.0. You can see it like here. Yeah, Symfony, it's dev environment. It's PHP version 7.4.4, and it is Symfony 5.0.5. It is running. If you like my video, just subscribe. If you have any questions, type comments, type questions. I'll try to answer to you all your questions. Thank you and bye.